Hello everyone and welcome back to NCAA 2004, and it's another doozy of a video because that's what happens in the SEC schedule, I guess. Every game is just destined to be somewhat of a banger here from here on out. We do have a couple games that are, kind of lighter that we always tend to skip through, but this one is not one of those. The Georgia rivalry with Saban is about as charged as it was in real life with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart eventually, but we're about 10 or 15 years before that time. So we're going to get into our fifth matchup, I think, our fifth or sixth matchup with Georgia. We have to remember we have an extra matchup with the Bulldogs because we did play in the SEC Championship against them in our first season. So we played them twice in our first year, and of course subsequently played them every year since. And in that rivalry, it's been a little bit of a back and forth. Last year, we absolutely beat the brakes off of Georgia. We got the backups involved. I forgot to write that score down, but I remember it was quite a lopsided affair back in Tuscaloosa. We kind of gave Georgia all that they could handle. It was not one of the closer games we played last season, so maybe they will try a little bit something different this year, but just look at the stat line for Tim Lewis. I just want to point that out, bro. Do you see that? He is having himself an absolute monster start to the year. I hope he continues that because we saw a couple picks and it felt like maybe he was getting prone to throwing them, but to think that he's only had a couple, I mean, you know what I mean? Like we'll take that number here. We want to mitigate the mistakes here, but we are going to get into this game. I've of course written down are some skill position players for Georgia. But we're going to start on offense here, deep in our own end. Tim Lewis dumps one off quickly here to Jean Carroll, and he's going to cut up field, have some open space, and get brought down at about the 48 or 49 yard line. So it's a huge pickup on the very first play of the game. We're already getting things going here. So 1st and 10 now from just about midfield. Tim Lewis drops back again, plenty of time, finds an open man downfield, and fires one to Chad Whitaker, and a big spin move is going to get him into open space, and he's into the end zone. So 2 plays for this Crimson Tide offense is going to get us some points early on, and this is an amazing play by Chad Whitaker, dude. This guy has got to be NFL ready just in his second year, man. Just as a sophomore, you could probably go to the draft. I think sophomores can leave your team early, so it's possible. We got to watch for Chad Whitaker. He might be trying to leave us after the season, but again, far ahead. We won't worry about it. So already facing a 3rd and 6 Georgia's offense, and their quarterback, Sims, is going to drop back, and he wants a home run shot and finds a wide open receiver. And there were 3 guys in the vicinity, but none of them were really playing that tight around him. And so I didn't get to see which receiver it was, but a huge reception. So Sims again going to fire off another pass and finds another open receiver brought down at the 10. And again, 3 Crimson Tide defenders surrounding the receiver, but for some reason just not playing tight enough. Just couldn't get there, I guess. I don't know. So, but it's another reception for Georgia as they're going to work this one inside the 15. So 1st and goal for the Bulldog offense here. Sims with 2 men in the backfield. He's going to release this one quickly, and it is caught for a touchdown. So that looked like a short name. It might have been Desmond James, the senior, I think, maybe for Georgia, who caught that pass. But we will get a breakdown at some point with one of the graphics that might show us the numbers and stuff like that. But it's a Georgia touchdown, so they answer us back here fairly quickly. So 7-7 is your score. Now back on offense, the Crimson Tide here, 1st and 10. Lewis drops back here, fires one across the middle, deep shot downfield, and it's caught by DeJean Carroll again on that right side. And, DeJean Carroll's just given that DB everything he can handle. So now we are already in Georgia territory. So 1st and 10 here, Tim Lewis drops way back, floats this one out here to the corner of the end zone, and it's Scott Mitchell now in double coverage. Both DBs were not playing, were not really locked in on that route here. They were really kind of playing loose. Looks like both of them maybe even overplayed that ball, thought that they could make a move on it, and neither of them did. So Scott Mitchell here gets a huge touchdown in this game to take a 7-point lead over the Bulldogs. So now Sims drops back here. Pressure gets picked up. He's going to fire one down the middle of the field and wide open. He's got a receiver. A spin move is going to get him in open space, and no one is going to catch him in time. He's going to dive for the end zone, and it's another Georgia touchdown. So the Bulldogs answering right back here with just a couple plays. Look at that. The pressure was picked up beautifully too, man. You gotta give respect to that. And then a huge spin move on Rick Sloan. I believe Rick Sloan, right? I got to get my roster screen out here Yeah, Rick Sloan. Beautiful spin move on Rick Sloan to get into open space. And it's tough to watch, but 14-14 is now your score. And now the Crimson Tide moving once again. Another deep shot. Chad Whitaker hauls this one in. And Tim Lewis, man, he just cannot be stopped, dude. Just can't be stopped. He's just finding everyone across the field, just spraying it across the field as well. So 1st and 10 again. Lewis drops back again. Plenty of time as well. It hits DeJon Carroll on a crossing route over the middle. It's going to be another 1st down. And look at that pass. Look at that, dude. 6 of 6. I mean, Sims isn't doing bad either. Sims is absolutely having himself a day. But, 6 of 6 for 200 yards. I mean, you got to be kidding me, man. So 3rd and 7. Now, Georgia's defense finally showing some resilience. Lewis off of his back foot finds Chad Whitaker, who breaks off that first tackle and gets brought down inside the 20. And so we do manage to get the 1st down and continue. So 7 straight completions for Tim Lewis. Now Tim Lewis drops back here, moves around in the pocket, and fires it and overshoots that ball and finds a Georgia DB who just comes out of nowhere. Cummings was positioned well for that pass. And yeah, he just kind of overshot the throw. And so that's the first incompletion is an interception. So it's brutal here. But Georgia's going to pick up a much-needed 1st down to get him inside the Alabama 45. And now their drive is going to continue. And so 1st and 10 here. We're still in the 1st quarter, folks, by the way. Still in the 1st quarter. So Sims lobs up another shot here in double coverage. And he had David Ford and Cecil Randolph in coverage. But I think it's Rowe, actually. Or no, it's not Rowe. Okay, so that is James. It's Desmond James, the senior, who does manage to get that for Georgia. And again, they're going to go to that same spot. I think a different receiver, but the same spot. And again, a few Crimson Tide defenders in the vicinity cannot stop the completion here. But it is short of the stick, so Georgia's going to have to rely on special teams, and it's not going to pay off. So the kicker's going to miss it here. And so 14-14 is going to remain your score. Now we're going to go early in the 2nd quarter here. Georgia's defense trying to stop us, and we were able to pick up the 1st down as Tim Lewis finds Sean Watts, the tight end, across the middle. Also in quite a bit of coverage here, but he still does haul it in. So 1st and 10 now. Moving again, Lewis drops back. Lewis fires one to the right side, and it's picked off again. He is picked off again. It looks like Chad Whitaker, who was able to get the tackle here to save a potential pick 6, but still a humongous blunder here for Tim Lewis, who started the game off so hot, now has picked up 2 interceptions, and we were just praising him early in this game for his lack of turnovers, for the lack of mistakes. Now he's made 2 crucial ones. So a 4th and 1 now. Georgia's going to try and move the ball forward here. They're going to try and throw for it. Under some pressure, Sims has to back off and throw it off his back foot, and he does manage to get it to an open receiver. So not only do they pick up the 1st down, but they also move the ball quite deep into our territory. So another 3rd down. Our defense is really trying to stop the Bulldog offense, and pressure gets to Sims, and he cannot get rid of the football. That was a safety blitz, man, so he had plenty of time. Rick Sloan took a sweet time getting through that gap and getting to the quarterback, but he was able to successfully execute the safety blitz. So another long kick, and I wanted to include that the kicker's name is N-Ward. Can you believe that? His name is N-Ward. That is nuts. NCAA04. That is crazy. The kicker's name is N-Ward. Anyway, but he does finally nail it here. He missed the first one, but he does nail the second one. So 17-14 is the score. So after a high-flying first quarter, the second quarter has really been scarce on points, but now we're going to try and answer back after a couple of mistakes. So that 1st and 10 goes to Scott Mitchell, and so that gets about 6 yards. And so now we're going to try and run the hurry up here quickly under getting down to 30 seconds. Tim Lewis runs around in the pocket and fires another interception across the middle. And I guess he just didn't see that DB, and that's going to be the 3rd interception from Tim Lewis, the 3rd turnover for the team late in this half, man. It just, oh my gosh. Yeah, running around in the pocket, looked lost out there like a mouse, and that linebacker was just sitting there waiting on it. I mean, these are bad picks too, man. Bad picks. So 26 seconds, Georgia, I guess, could potentially get some points if possible. Sims on the run, floats out a deep ball, and Mark Blackwell gets us a turnover. And now back-to-back plays, we exchange interceptions as Mark Blackwell hauls that one in for a Crimson Tide turnover from the defense. So a 3rd and 14 now, we're just trying to run things out here. And Lamont Farrell gets out in open space, spin move, shakes off a linebacker, and he's out in open space. He's got one man to beat. He's taking a great angle to him. Inside the 10 here, he's going to get brought down at the 3-yard line. Clock is nines, that triple zeros, and that huge run. We haven't seen Lamont Farrell all half, and he busts off a humongous, probably, 60-yard run to end the half. Fortunately, could not get into the end zone, so 17-14 is going to remain the score. So we get held scoreless in the second quarter by the Bulldog defense, courtesy of Tim Lewis's awful interceptions. But opening up the second half, Lamont Farrell says, fine, dude, I'll do it again. And he gets an open space along the sidelines, gets brought down short of the end zone once again, but now on 4 carries, he's got 128 yards, and 2 of those got to be, most of that's on those 2 carries, but great to see Lamont Farrell doing those things. So, we haven't seen him all half, and then to end the first half, and then to start the second half, he's going to get quite busy for us. So now we're going to give it to Lamont Farrell again, who's going to get a nice run up the middle, and a generous tackle animation is going to bring him forward into the end zone. So he's finally going to get that touchdown that he's been working at since the first half. And look at that. The seas just parted, and a very, very generous tackle, I think, from the linebacker who had the interception. So, yeah, how's that feel? So 21-17 is the score. We finally take a lead over the Bulldogs after a quiet second quarter here, and we're going to continue moving things again as Georgia's offense is now struggling in the second half. Tim Lewis is going to hit Jordan Quinn, the freshman, on the right side for a huge pickup, but their defense is standing firm here on a 3rd and 6. Tim Lewis going to keep it himself, going to try and run for it, tries to put a spin move down. Not going to work here. Not going to get fooled. No one's going to get fooled by a quarterback throwing a spin move. So as much as we do we'd like to believe we have a mobile quarterback, he ain't that mobile. So Marion Ferguson's going to have to come out here and make this a 7-point ball game, and he does just that. We love our kicker, man. We love Ferguson, the kicker. He's a great guy, great fixture in the team. So 24-17 here. Georgia's finally moving the ball inside our territory, but on a 4th down, they're going to try and go for it. And the running back Boulware, who really hasn't done much of anything today, hasn't done a whole lot of squat. He does manage to pick up the first down for Georgia, so the drive is going to continue just barely. And Sims, under some pressure, gets absolutely sent, man. They sent the kitchen sink. We had 2 linebackers. Got to check out which ones those were, because it was a few of them. One of them I didn't even have written down. So Sims on the next play going to try and take a shot to the end zone, and it's good in triple coverage again. I don't know how, man. Jeez, that's the biggest, most annoying thing about this game is just the way that works, dude. He is in all kinds of coverage, and they just showed Boulware, the running back. If the running back caught this in that amount of coverage, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. And he did. In triple coverage, he manages to catch it. So we get a huge sack, an amazing sack, and then that happens. But also, N-word misses the extra point. So it would have been a tie ball game, but now, very importantly, he misses the extra point. So 24-23 is now the score heading into the 4th quarter. We have a 1-point ball game. That PAT might come back to bite Georgia in the bum. It is possible. So a 3rd and 10 now. Georgia's defense is playing firm against our offense, but Tim Lewis is able to find Scotty Mitchell the hole in the zone. He was able to drop that into the bucket, and we're going to continue our drive. But after a negative play here, 2nd and 13, Tim Lewis got to get a nice little pickup here. Takes a shot towards the end zone in the corner of the end zone. I think it's DeJon Carroll who catches that one. And we saw Carroll with such beautiful plays early in this ball game here in the first quarter. A lot of that early surge of points was because of him. And here he is late now getting his name called with a very crucial touchdown. So there we go. And we're going to get another look at it as Tim Lewis, man, getting himself back into this ball game after a rough second quarter here, and DeJon Carroll getting involved as well. We'd love to see it. And so we're going to take a 31-23 lead over the Bulldogs. Now, with inches to go, they're going to throw for it. Sims is able to find, is that Boulware again, the running back? I think it is. It is. So Boulware catches that one again to get a first down for Georgia. Now Sims again has to get rid of it quickly. Wide open. He's got a receiver along the sideline who's going to tiptoe this one. That was Damian Herron, the junior, who was able to catch that one for the Bulldogs. So 2nd and 10, fast forward to Sims, drops back here. Pressure is on again. It's going to get home, and he's going to drop the football. It's going to be a fumble. So on that one now, pulling out the sheet here, and so it's Burnett here. It's Zach Burnett, the senior, who's going to pick up the fumble. But I'm on the fumble, on the sack rather. It is going to be Jamal Mullins, the senior, who does get home for that sack. So going to try and maybe bury Georgia now with some points here, and yeah. Tim Lewis decides to throw an arm punt. No reason to, but decides to throw an arm punt and just basically reset Georgia's drive back around midfield. So, yeah, that's how that works. So, 4th interception of the game here, and Georgia's wasting no time to get back busy here in our own territory. As I believe it's Desmond James again for Georgia, who gets a nice pickup for the Bulldogs to get them back just about where they were. So, 1st and 10 now. Sims drops back here, clean pocket, gets rid of it to Bulwer, the running back, who's going to stiff arm Cecil Randolph and blow past David Ford. Or actually, it's Hutchins. Excuse me. It is Hutchins, the tight end, who was able to break a bunch of tackles and get inside the 10-yard line. So Sims, with goal to go, takes a shot towards the end zone, and it is caught as he finds an open Bulldog receiver in the back of the end zone. And now Georgia with a chance to tie it now, but they're going to have to go for 2 if they want to tie this ball game. They still have plenty of time, but they're going to go for 2 here. And so breaks off one tackle and drags another defender into the end zone, and we can't keep him out of it. And Georgia's going to get the 2-point conversion. So as much as we thought that that missed PAT was going to help, 31-31 is your score. And Georgia manages to stop us with 2 minutes left to go. This is huge for the Bulldogs, but they're going to muff the punt. They're going to muff the punt, and we're going to fall on top of it. So Georgia, a huge opportunity, but there is a holding call on the play. It is not going to give possession back to Georgia. I guess that's an old rule thing. George Leon does hold on the return, but that's just going to change where we get the football. So it's going to be Bama ball now, under 2 minutes here inside Georgia territory, and we pick up a huge first down to Scott Mitchell across the middle, man. He barely gets that ball from touching the ground. And so Georgia does finally stop us here with a minute left to go, and we're going to bring up Marion Ferguson for a chip shot. And he does nail it. So the go-ahead field goal is good. So 34-31 is now the score of 53 seconds. So Georgia still has plenty of time. They're not completely screwed off of that muff punt, but that really put them in a much, much tougher spot. So 3rd and 19 after some negative plays. Just 40 seconds left to go. Sims needs a whole lot of yardage here, and he zips that one across the middle, and nobody is home. It's a misfire. That one's going to land into the grass. So going to try this one again now. 4th and 19. Georgia's down to their very, very last opportunity. 37 seconds. It's a high snap. He gets rid of it quickly to the tight end, Hargrove, who does catch it, but there's absolutely nowhere for him to go. You need 20 yards, and you picked up maybe 10. So it's going to be a turnover on downs. 31 seconds left to go, and it looks like the Crimson Tide are going to sneak out of this one, sneak out of Sanford with a victory, man. I don't know how on earth we pulled that off, man. That special teams blunder from Georgia, I mean, really special teams was what killed them all day. Missing the 2 field goals and the muff punt is really going to be what the Bulldogs look back on when they get to the end of their season. And they had a great start to the year. They had SEC championship aspirations. I'm not sure how that's looking now because of this loss. They already had a loss going into this game, but it could have been a non-con loss, so I don't know. I actually think it was an LSU loss. I think from looking at the Sports Illustrated covers, I think they lost to LSU to start their year, so either way, Georgia running the football really not great. We were able to get a lot of pressure to the quarterback, so they had negative yardage. But either way, Bulwer really was not doing much for them on the ground. He was fine receiving, but didn't do much of them on the ground. But our turnover should have been what lost us this game. And just thanks to the special teams blunders by the Bulldogs, we were able to stay alive in this ball game. So, yeah, 4 picks to 3 touchdowns. I mean, just terrible, man. He doubled, like tripled his interception numbers in one game. Lamont Farrell had an absolutely monstrous game. Monstrous game, dude. He was everywhere. Scott Mitchell and Chad Whitaker, of course, leading things in the receiving corps as per usual. I think both those guys will probably be All-Americans by the end of the season. David Ford was everywhere in terms of tackles and TFLs. We got a couple sacks from Jamal Mullins and Rick Sloan. Big strip sack from Jamal Mullins as well. And also Marion Ferguson had himself a game. So coming back into the hub world, Arkansas State, we do manage to beat them. That was our last out of conference game. I thought it was earlier, but it's not. And then we do manage to barely beat a bad Ole Miss team, just barely. So we're cruising for a losing here, cruising for a bruising, cruising to lose a game. So we could finally lose one to Tennessee. Is this going to be the loss here that kind of changes the trajectory of our season? Who knows, but we'll find out when we come back. We're also number 1 now, and I believe it's because Ohio State lost, so that's how we gain number 1. So hope to see you guys when we play Tennessee as the new number 1 team in the country.